What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the driveway, and welcome to what I would say is a pretty dismal day here in the Houston area. It's in the mid-40s outside right now, so it's a little on the chilly side, but there's a nice breeze blowing out there too, so it probably makes it a little bit colder. It's just not the most optimal day to be outside filming like a vlog or a car review or something like that. So I've decided to take the liberty of doing something that I haven't done for quite some time, if at all, on this channel, which is a good old Q&A. Now, unfortunately, to those of you who follow me on Instagram, the 800 something of you at this point, unfortunately you guys were not able to get your questions in for this particular Q&A because my phone, a Samsung Galaxy S5, is a complete and utter piece of garbage and has been eating batteries left and right. So therefore, I haven't been able to make an Instagram post about this Q&A. So to all of my Instagram followers out there, I do apologize. But for those of you who follow me on my Facebook fan page and also here on my YouTube community section, I wanted to thank you guys first off for chiming in and sending me your questions for this Q&A, and also to anybody who may be stopping by this video for the first time, if you like it, please do give it a thumbs up, and also be sure to click that subscribe button down below for many more videos like this and more to come in the future. But now let's get to what you guys have wanted to know about me. Now, before I get to the questions that I've so conveniently written down in this spiral notebook here, talk about going old school, but again, my phone's such a piece of shit, I decided to go a little bit more of a conventional fashion. I wanted to answer the main question that so many of you guys have been asking me, which is, what the hell is that smudge on my camera lens that you guys have been seeing through a lot of my recent reviews? And unfortunately, I'm sad to say that it's not a smudge or something that I can clean off so easily. It is a scratch, and I don't know how it got there. I don't know if it was whether I was filming an exhaust shot or whether I was filming a certain clip or whether it was just because it was sitting in my camera bag the wrong way. Either way, it's a scratch and actually a chip that's been taken out of the middle of the lens, and it could not be in a more inappropriate place because it literally sits right over the area where the camera itself focuses. So to anybody out there who is either seeing this video or maybe has seen one of my more recent reviews and has been just beside themselves with that smudge that's in the middle of my camera, well, now you know your answer. So the first question comes from Facebook, and it comes from a good friend of mine named Russell Holm. And he asked me, what's one car you always wanted to drive, and when you finally did, it wasn't all that you thought it would be? Well, to be fair, Russell, there have been a lot of cars that I have driven that really just didn't live up to the hype that I thought they were going to provide. I've driven a lot of very nice vehicles, some very high horsepower ones, like the Dodge Hellcat that I had at the end of 2017, and really, honestly, I can't think of one specific car that hasn't really lived up to the hype that I thought it was going to be. I guess what I can say, though, is it's my Elantra Sport. And I really hate to be dissing Hyundai because I've been working for the company for the past 5 years or so. But after owning it for almost 2 years now, actually right at 2 years as of this February, at first, it was really exciting to drive, and I was really happy about it, and I guess I was just almost in that starstruck phase of having the car. But after driving it for a while and experiencing some of the issues that I have with it, specifically like the transmission and whatnot, I just don't think that car really has lived up to the hype that I put into it originally. There are a couple of other cars, one of which actually was surprising, which was the recent review I did of the 2019 Toyota Corolla hatchback. I know I ranted and raved and praised the new CVT transmission for behaving the way it does and sort of acting like more like a normal automatic. But for as hot as that car looks, I was just a bit disappointed by the lack of power. It really does have a nice noise to it. It's a great car, and I praise Toyota for coming out with a hot hatchback, but I just don't think it has that punch in the stomach kind of feeling that you would expect from a hot hatch that looks like it does. The next question comes from Michael Steurwald. I do apologize if I butcher anybody's names. It's spelled Steurwald. Also comes from Facebook, and they say, what do you think of the new Hyundai Palisade? Well, to be fair, I haven't seen it in person yet, but I have seen a lot of photos, and from the news that I've gathered, not only from working here at Hyundai, but also from just news reports that I've heard, I actually like it. I actually think it's going to be a pretty hot seller. I think the Santa Fe 3-row has had a great run, or the Santa Fe long wheelbase as most people know it. It's been in place from 2013 now until 2019, so it's had a great run, over half a decade already, but I think it's starting to really get tired, and it's starting to show its age. So I think the Palisade Palisade is a great introduction into the world of bigger SUVs for Hyundai, and since they haven't had a good one of that kind of size or shape since maybe about 2007 or so, or even higher when the Veracruz was around, I think the Palisade is going to be a great SUV. So good question on that one. The next question comes from Tom Streeter, and he asks, what's the worst car you've ever owned? Well, Tom, I'll be fair with you. I have owned a lot of really, really shitty cars, and pardon my French for saying it that way, but I've owned some real junk boxes. I mean, I've had my second car that I ever owned personally was a 1999 Ford Contour SVT. Never made a video on it, never had a chance because I only owned it for I think a month and a half. And I only had to replace a transmission speed sensor because the speedometer was kind of on the fritz. And about a month after I did that replacement, the motor shot a rod right through the bottom of the block. So I was not too happy about that. I've had a couple of other Ford vehicles and some other ones that were not so great. I had a 2001 Mazda Millennia, which ran like a bag of junk from the day I got it, and I tried to fix it, and it just ended up being more of a money pit. But I think the worst car out of everything I've ever owned, and this one was just an absent-minded decision. I had a 1996 Ford Escort LX 3-door that I never made a video on because it was literally such a piece of junk. I bought the car for I think $700, and it was sort of misfiring and kind of just not really good condition at the time. And unfortunately, that one ended up needing an entirely new engine. 2 of the cylinders had no compression and 1 was on its way out, so it just was a total bag of junk. So that in turn has been the worst car that I've ever owned. Another question that comes from I believe this one comes from Facebook as well, comes from Hunter Pollard, and he asked, what would you have done differently when buying your Mazda 3? Now, to anybody who is new to this channel and has not seen any of my other videos, before I had my current car, which is a 2017 Hyundai Elantra Sport, I had a 2014 Mazda 3i Touring with a 6-speed manual transmission. And I really got that car because the car I had prior to it, which was a 2005 Toyota Corolla Sport, lost a transmission. It was an automatic. It unfortunately, even though it had been well taken care of and had pretty low miles on it, unfortunately the transmission decided to go by the wayside at just under 100,000 miles, so I ended up getting my Mazda 3. What I had done differently, I really wish I had found kind of a better one, because that was really the only one I found that fit the category of the type of vehicle I was looking for. So therefore, I kind of just wish I had done a little bit better research. I probably could have found a better one, maybe even a 2.5 instead of a 2.0 that I had, and probably could have gotten it for a better price, and probably still could have had it with a manual. But again, I just feel I could have done a little bit better research when I went to buy that vehicle. So the next question also comes from Facebook, and it comes from Justin Dunsford, and he asks, how's the resale value of Hyundai? Now, unfortunately, this is a bit of a serious question for me because, again, I've worked for Hyundai for the past 5 years or so, and I will say that while Hyundai vehicles do offer great value for money in terms of the features that they offer, the design language that they have, and just so many benefits and benefactors that they have going for them, unfortunately, after about 2 years or so, their resale value really does start to go down. If you've seen videos from maybe like Tyler Hoover and his 2013 Hyundai Equus, if you're going to buy a Hyundai and you want to buy it new, you better be prepared to have a bit of a depreciation curve happen. I've seen, Sonatas, Elantras, Genesis, all these different cars that are at least, maybe 2-3 years old, and they've lost at least 20 to 30, if not 40% of their value, just like that, even after only, maybe 10 or 20,000 miles. I saw a 2015 Genesis 5.0, almost fully loaded, had about 7,400 miles on it, come through some inventory at another local dealer, and I think it was going for like $35,000, and this was like a $50,000 car when it started, and it's only 3 years old. So if that gives you any kind of an indication of how the resale values are, there's your answer right there. So the last question comes from a longtime subscriber of mine, one that's been around for I think over a decade at this point, and it's Stephen Lebbing, and he actually asked this question via my YouTube community, and he said, out of all the press cars that you've had, which one did you love the best? Well, Stephen, I'm just going to be fair and say that I have loved pretty much every press car that I've come across. I don't care whether it's a 4-cylinder Toyota Corolla or whether it's a 700 plus horsepower Dodge Hellcat. With the fact that I love cars as much as I do, I just think that every single vehicle is unique in its own way. I feel that each one has a benefit of some kind to offer certain markets out there. And if I really had to pick one, and that would be the 2018 Dodge Challenger Hellcat wide body. It's the fastest car I've ever had as a press car, and a 2018 Alfa Romeo 4C Coupe. I love the Challenger just because you gotta love a V8, go V8 or go home. And I mean, 700 plus horsepower, I mean, what more do you need to say? That car was an absolute animal. But on the flip side, I loved the Alfa Romeo. I absolutely adored that car, not just because of the fact it looked as exotic as it did, but because of the concept of not so much horsepower, but really lightweight. I mean, the thing weighs as much as like a Miata, I think, and it makes about as much power as a Sonata Turbo. So, I mean, the thing knows how to get up and go, and this particular one that I had, which, again, I never made a video on due to, we had an ice storm here in Houston, a freak of nature by chance, and I also had oral surgery at the same time I had that car, so I didn't want to come on camera with my face swollen up the size of a melon, and just it wasn't going to work out. So unfortunately, I did never get the chance to make a video on that car, but I'm currently in the process of talking to Alfa and trying to get another one so I can finally get a video on it. But if you're wondering which car's been my favorite, those two have tied for first place. Well, guys, that wraps up this quick little Q&A, and I hope everybody has enjoyed their time and my ramblings on all different questions from around the automotive world. And if you guys have a question for me for my next Q&A, feel free to leave it in the comment box below, or feel free to check out any of the links in the description box below, where you can follow me on all my other forms of social media, including Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. But guys, that wraps up this Q&A, and I hope you guys have enjoyed it. And again, if you have, do give this video a thumbs up, and also the subscribe button is down below, so you guys know what to do. But anyways, from out here in Houston, Texas, this has been Bobby from The Driveway, and I will see you guys next time. Take care and stay safe.